Testing, testing. All right, I think I'll just get started. I'm not sure if anyone's here. This was very impulsive, this live stream. It was scheduled to be held this morning. Oops, I forgot to. Here. It was scheduled to be held this morning, but there was a lot of technical difficulties with the live chat not working, and I really wanted to take some Q&A from some of the bubblepins members, and since I had everything just all the sample files all set up and everything, I thought I'd just make this a public live stream, see if anyone shows up since I have everything all set up. Hey, we have someone here. Birdie Academy, hi. There might be a delay in the chat though. Hopefully my bandwidth is not the best at this time of hour, but let's give it a try. I've never had the live stream at this particular hour. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot it in the chat. I'll just get started. So today's topic will be about Houdini to Substance Painter workflow. Basically, I'm going to make a terrain in Houdini, and I'm going to export it and import it into Painter and show you how I use UDIMs to increase the pixel density, resolution, and how you can like set up materials for it and end up something like I'm gonna show you an example. I'm just typing. Hopefully you can end up something like this. This is what I used to create the terrain in Houdini, and then export it and export all the mask images, and that's how I got all the this was all shaded and the materials were all set up in Painter, but there's no manual painting. So all these masking images are all generated in Houdini. So that's this very procedural. So I'm not going to be doing anything this complex, but I'm going to show you the workflow so you know all the technical details. Okay, let's just get started. All right. So I'm going to keep checking the chat once in a while. I'll get to your question. If you do have a question, just shoot it in, and I'll get to it when I see it. It won't be right away because I'm flipping between desktops. So let's start off with the geometry node. Then a very simple Heightfield. Changing the background so it's more visible. Here's our Heightfield. Now, one of the things that you need to notice that this Heightfield I'm using is, I can't, there we go. This guy is 500 by 500 voxels. So this will make a difference in the resolution and the quality of what we get in Painter when we export it out. So I'll go into more detail about this, but for the purpose of the live stream, I'm just going to stick with 500 by 500 voxels, simply because it's a little laggy when I'm doing live stream and the CPU is a little questionable. But just keep in mind that the higher resolution your Heightfield is, the higher the quality the mask images will be when it gets generated from Houdini. And that will play a difference in your final result. Oh, hey, we have questions. Oh, there are comments. Thank you very much. I try. If you have any questions, just shoot them in. Okay, let's do Heightfield noise. So just do something very simple. Nothing too fancy. I'm just gonna simple noise. Let's drop down a Heightfield erosion so we can get all that nice cliffs, water, and all that good stuff. Just gonna do a few frames just so we get something. Okay, I think that's good enough. Let's just no. This will be 11. Okay. So I'm gonna freeze it on 11. So this is what we're going to be exporting and all the good stuff. The reason why I needed to put an erosion node down is because I want all this good stuff here. The sediment, the bedrock, the height, well, the height is given, the debris, the water. This stuff is what we're going to be outputting as a mask image and importing into Painter and use it to set up the materials. So it's more procedural that way. Now, this is, as you know, Heightfield is still a volume. These are volumes, so we can't really just export this out. What we can use is the very helpful labs node that sidefx has provided for us. Labs terrain mesh ROP. So what this will output, it will take this volume and it will output it as convert it into a physical geometry. So let me just plug it in first. Let it run. Okay, there you go. We got physical geometry. And what is neat about this is that it also sets up the UVs for us. So I'm just going to open up the UVs on this side. Now, this is where I'm going to get into UDIMs. Right now, this is not really a UDIM. This is one UV square. So there's really no difference between having this here and... Now, there's also a Heightfield convert. I hope I'm not jumping all over the place. There's a Heightfield convert. And these two nodes are very similar, but they're very different as well. And what I mean by that is that Heightfield convert will convert our Heightfield volume into a physical geometry. And then we still have UVs, but it's not tiled. It's not UDIM. We don't have the fancy UDIM. And this way of converting a Heightfield terrain is not as great because you lose all that detail. This UV square is, this UV square is a 0 to 1 UV square. We don't get much information out of this. And to get the most out of it, we need to actually expand the UVs even further. And that's where UDIMs come in handy. That's where these other squares come in. We need to utilize these other squares to expand the pixel density is what I'm trying to get into. The pixel density for this quick shade, for this 0 to 1 UV square, this single UV square is not enough. We lose all that fancy detail. I mean, you'll still get this, but it'll be really blurry. It'll be really pixelated. And it won't look as great. At the end, first I'm going to show you how to do it like the better way. And then I'll show you what it looks like using this way, like just one single UV square. And then you can see the difference, hopefully. So let's stick with this terrain, this labs terrain. So this one, I'm just going to color it black. It's there for reference. So let's set this up. Tile tile count. I'm gonna have a 2 by 2. I'm just gonna keep it simple. There you go, 2 by 2. Density, okay, that looks good. Now, I do have my special HDA that I created in order to reorder these squares. For some reason, the labs is really nice. It gives us this, but UDIMs have a name for each square. The problem is these squares are ordered in the wrong place, and when you put it into Painter, it somehow doesn't understand it, and it messes up it flips the mask images. So I created a HDA in order to do that for me. I'm just gonna have to. I'm just gonna install it into this zip file. So this is my HDA. I'll show you what it has. I'll show you what it's doing. Just have to add it in. Okay. And after I add that in, I can actually call it up. It gets installed into this HIP file, so I can use it as a regular node. So this is something I created right here. Let's drop it down, and all it does, it just reorders these squares in the correct UDIM name. So when I put it into Painter, it looks right. I'm just gonna check if there's any questions. Quixel Bridge to Houdini. I used to use Quixel Bridge, and then I don't know why it stopped. I think then I got into Substance Designer, and that was very addictive. Substance Designer is very addictive. If you're really into proceduralism, Substance Designer is very similar to the cops in Houdini, except it's a lot easier than for making textures, because there's a lot of anyways, sorry, I'm going off track. Quixel Bridge, I'll put that on the list. It might take a while to get to it though, because I haven't touched it in a long time. Anyways, let's take a look at this HDA that I created. It takes a while to load. Okay, I'm just gonna dig in. I'm not gonna edit anything. So really all it's doing is taking these colors. I actually use these colors as a guide for me, and I partition them by the color. So I'm saying if you're this color, you're that partition. And then what I do in the wrangle, I just take the color. So you see that the group is isolating the attribute wrangles. These wrangles are isolating each partition by the color. So the color group is right here. And what it's doing, it's just naming, giving it a primitive attribute name of UDIM with the correct UDIM number. And this is essential for the UV layout. You input it, the UV layout will ask you for the target attribute, which it will use to properly position that UDIM tile in the right place. So really all I'm doing is just reordering these squares. Really, that's all I'm doing. And then the last step this is doing is just making it a lot bigger. So if we take a look over here, before I drop down this my own HDA, so over here, this UV square is very small, and there's something wrong with my video card. It doesn't update after you do that. I have to create another. I lose the color, is what I'm saying. Okay, let me close this before something crashes. Oh, actually, let me save this too. I desperately need more RAM. I'm just gonna do a quick save, sorry. Okay. So let me open this up, and we should have our color, hopefully. No? I think I lost even more. Let me close this, turn this up. Okay, so the color's back up here. It's just not here. Okay, let's just stick with this one then. Okay. So here. So the UVs look like this. This is a lot smaller. So there's these grid lines. Hopefully you can see these grid lines. Right when I put the render flag over here, you'll see that this lab note will put all the UDM tiles in one UV square. Well, that's not very helpful. So we need it in its own UDM tile. So each one of these squares is called a UDM tile. Let it cook just a bit. All right, there you go. So you can see that the UDM, the UVs have expanded out of its own little 0 to 1 UV space. Okay. Now let's put down FBX RAW and let's export this out. Just gonna do this. Save it. All right. That's this guy. Let's put it into Substance. Oops. I think it's this one. Okay. Okay, Substance. So I'm just creating a new Substance Painter project. Okay, if we come here, new, select, just gonna open up, sorry. Copied the wrong path. This one. I can't use the $ hit path. Okay, this is the one that we just created, the FBX RAW. I'm just gonna open that up into here, and since this, so before clicking the OK, I just want to explain that this RAW is exporting a UDM tile. So we do have UDM tiles right here. And for the new Substance Painter UDIM workflow, they added this UV tile settings right here. So you can click this. Since we do have UDIM tiles, this is the new thing that they have, which is very, very convenient to have. Very, very convenient to use. Preserve UV tile layout per material and enable painting across tiles. This makes things really easier. Before, they had, this was the old way of doing it, and you had to, okay, let me show you, and then I'll keep yapping. Hey, so just looking at the chat, just reading over the chat. Anyone have questions yet? I'm actually very new to this YouTube live stream thing, so I don't really know all the features and all the chat stuff. So I'm not sure. Oh, actually, I know what this is. I was just looking at the chat window, and I wasn't sure what this. Let me pop it out. So I wasn't sure what this green highlight was. I think someone just joined the bubblepins program. I think that's what it was. I was like wondering what that was. I'm very new to this chat thing, live stream. Cool. Now, if anyone has questions, feel free. Shoot them in. Okay, so we have our Houdini terrain successfully imported into Painter. Now, what's the beauty about this is that we have texture set list, which does it all for us. It assigns the material automatically for us according to the UDIM tile. Let me, and oh, here we go. So we can see the UDIM tile. Now this is the UDIM tiling. You can see the numbering here too. 1001, 1002, 1011, 1012, which is what I did in my HTA over here. This is the HTA that I created that's doing it in the background. So you don't, it hides all the ugly stuff here. Partitioning by color, and it has 4 wrangle nodes that is naming the UDIM tiles by their color. And and at the end, I drop down a UV layout that lays it out according to those UDIM names that I have thrown into here. This line here, it goes into the primitives. It reads that off of the primitives, which is actually, let me show you here. So it reads this attribute down here. Let me see if I can, okay, there. It reads this attribute here. And it lays it out according to the right place. It orders in the right place. And all this is doing, this last one, is just making it larger. And then we get this. Now, the next question, how do we actually set up a material for this? That's the end of the day goal. So let's output some mask images. Sorry, I'm just gonna get my notes back up. Okay. Here, so we go back to the Heightfield volume. Oh, I lost the color. Okay, there we go. The Heightfield volume. So this is in the volumes volumes world. It's not a geometry yet. So because of that, we have access to the Heightfield, all this Heightfield nodes that Houdini has provided with us. We can still use these operators. But if I plug it after this over here, because this is no longer a Heightfield, it's no longer a Heightfield volume anymore. If you okay, if we go here, we don't have a volume. We actually have points. We have primitives. Oh, okay. No, sorry. We have points. If we come here, actually, let me pin this. That's probably better. Pin this here and come here and pin. There we go. Pin this. This is a Heightfield. This is terrain. This is actual geometry. So there's actually points here. This one is a Heightfield volume. So we actually have volumes. So volumes is represented by a primitive in Houdini. That's why we only have 6 points. We only have 6 primitives because we have all this information here. Now the goal right now is to output these primitive data because we want the bedrock and we want the water, and I want to tell Painter to give me water material wherever I have a water volume. That's the goal. So Houdini comes with a Heightfield output node, and what this does, it gives us mask images. We come here, and I'm just gonna plug in a file name, and I'm gonna now I want a black and white mask image just to make things simpler. You can plug everything into one image because you have RGB. So you can have red representing the bedrock, green representing the water, and put everything inside. But I'm going to keep it really simple. And I'm just going to choose a single channel. So this is black and white. And let's do the bedrock. Let's take a look what the bedrock looks like first. So this is not necessary. I'm just going to make it black. This is for reference. So we actually know what the bedrock looks like. I'm going to take out all this. We don't need this. Bedrock here. Okay. So this is our bedrock. I'm gonna output this. I think I tiled. So we do have UDIM. So it's important to check this. Divide into tiled maps. Now each tiled map, I'm gonna have it. Actually, I'm gonna do number of tiles. So I have a 2x2 tile. So let's take a look here. Here. Okay, so it's a 2x2. So let's go back here. So 2x2. File naming UDIM. Okay, I think we're good. Let's hit the save. Put it out. Mask images. So you'll end up with 4 mask images, and you'll see that it looks very familiar. It's each mask, each image file represents a corner of this terrain. Just gonna take a look at the chat. I believe Substance can take color mask. I believe so. That's what I used to use, because I used to output it as a red mask. You can actually pick the color that you're masking. I believe so. That was the old workflow. And then Substance Painter updated their UDIM workflow. So don't quote me on that. I'll have to check that out. But black and white images work. So the worst case, you'll just have a lot of mask images. So let's try and use those mask images in here. Now what we need, I don't need this layer right now, so I'm going to delete it. I want a fill layer. So I'm right here. So I'm going to be working in this corner. So fill layer here. All right. Now I'm going to come here. I'm going to add a red color. I'm just going to paint the whole thing red. Now I'm going to add, now just right click this. So we're still here. Right click the fill layer. Add I believe it's a white mask. Now it's a white mask because the important parts are white. I believe so. I might have it the other way around. It should be a white mask if I remember correctly. Now, for the mask here, I'm going to right click this corner here, not this over here, not the bucket. So it's very important where you right click. Left click this and you see that the mask is selected here, and then right click and then add a fill. So this is where we're going to define the mask. So let's bring it in first. Let's bring it in here. I just click and I just drag it in. Texture. Now I'm not a painter expert. I just label them all textures and I just put them into the current session so it doesn't stick around for too long. Let's import this. And now this is the beauty of the new UDIM workflow in Painter, is that it appears as one file. One single file, 4 UDIMs. So we have 4 of them here. It appears as one file. That's a lot. That's so much more cleaner. In the past, in the old Painter workflow, I had to do this 4 times, which was really annoying. You'll see what I mean later. All I had to do is take this image. So we're in the mask. We're in the mask fill layer that I had put. I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop it in here. Now look at that. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can put this on the side. Oh, there. Oh, that's good enough. Okay, so this is our bedrock, I believe. Yep, let me orientate this. Okay, let me see if I can orientate this the same way. So it looks the same. Yeah, okay. I think that's... I'm looking at this. Let me... 3D only. Okay. There you go. Okay, so this is this is how you can set up your materials. So right now I have just a basic red right here. So that's not great. So let's just get rid of that. What we can do. This was Bedrock. So this is I don't know. Let's put sand. Let's see if I have a sand material. I'm not sure if I do. Gloss Wasteland. Okay, let's try this. Let's put this here. Oh, sorry. That's not gonna. Just drop it in here. Sorry. Drop it into the material. That'd be more helpful. Okay, so this is our wasteland right here. I think it would be more interesting if I did water. So you can see that this is pretty blurry right now. That's because my mask images isn't, it all goes back to this Heightfield and this resolution. Oh, why does it keep doing that? There we go. It goes back to this voxel size. It's 500 by 500 voxels by 500 voxels. If you want a more cleaner mask image here, you're gonna have to up this a lot more. Like right now, the grid spacing is 2, so I'm reluctant to make this smaller because it might crash right now. Well, let's try it. Let's give it a try. So let's take a look. So this is your blurriness right now. Let's do this. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a whirl. Gonna do that. It's gonna cook for a long time though, because it has to redo the erosion. Let's see, the erosion reset. So I'm just gonna take a look at the chat. Yeah, it's something like pick the color option, I believe. Okay. So let me output this again. So we're gonna save it one more time to overwrite it. Now I'm not sure if Substance will just update. Probably not. Okay. What I can do is just, I wonder if I can click and drag it. It doesn't know it doesn't know better. Okay, so this is a new one. Let's see if I can click update this. Oh, let's see. So I hope you can see that. I'm just going back and forth. This is the new one. This is the old one. It's slightly less blurry. It's more resolution. Realistically, you want to up this voxel like to really, really large. Like 2000 by 2000 voxels is still not enough. You can really up it more here. So that's one thing. That's one thing you need to be aware of is the Heightfield size and the number of UDIMs. So right now, if I come over here, it has to cook. Okay. I'm gonna file cache this so it doesn't keep cooking. It's a lot slower because now it's 2000 by 2000 voxels and I'm streaming, so this makes life a lot harder. Okay, this is taking way too long, but realistically you would output a new mask image. So we did that. We saved a new one based on the 2000 by 2000 voxel size, and you would actually need to output a new FBX. and put it into Painter, it would increase the quality of the render, of the shading and everything. Now that's just one thing you need to be aware of, is that the Heightfield grid size, which affects the mask image resolution. But there's the third thing you have to be aware of, is the pixel density. This is all good and all with 2x2 UDIMs. We've increased the pixel density. Now what happens if I do like this can be a lot better if I did like 3x3 UDIMs. So if we get more UDIMs, basically you would want more of these mask images to be generated. The more of them you have, the more information you can fit into that one UV square, because you have like right here, right now, I have 4 of them. So I've increased my pixel density 4 times. I hope that makes sense. Okay, it's still cooking. I think I'll just stop this. This is taking way too long. So anyone have any questions? So far, that's the general idea of how to going from Houdini to the Substance Painter workflow. I wonder if I got dropped off. Can you keep this video? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like, it'll be on YouTube. I'm gonna keep this on the public. What I really usually do is have a live stream, and then I'll edit the live stream, and then like all the fancy arrows and overlays that I usually have, and I'll release that as an official one. So it makes it a little more pleasant to look at it. So if you do want to watch the replay, maybe wait a couple of days so I can edit it, and then I'll put it up. Yeah, I won't. Well, I'll delete. I'm gonna release the edit version, and I'll delete this one. It'll just be this live stream, but with editing, with like arrows and all that stuff. So does anyone have any questions? And this thing is not stopping. I really wanted to show you what it looks like with just one UV square, but my computer's not listening right now. Okay, there it goes. Okay, maybe I'll just go back to 2. It's too heavy. If you use this particular way, so I'm trying to answer, so I'm not going to read out people's names because I'm going to totally butcher the name. But the question in here is that if you have a lot of height deformation, like on the cliffs or whatever, would the UVs get stretched? And this is a problem that I used to have a lot. The stretching with the UVs, if you use projection and all that stuff, it would stretch it a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people have that problem too. Now, that's where this labs nodes comes in really handy. And it's starting to cook again. I'm so sorry. It's because of this erosion. It's still stuck on the 2000. Okay, let me reset this. Just bear with me just 1 second. I need to return everything back to the low quality one so it runs faster. So I switched it back to 500 by 500 voxel, so it's easier to manage. Right here in this labs node, they give us an adaptive density. So this becomes your best friend. This will avoid the stretching. If you have like, oh, let's actually do it. Let's ignore this erosion, sorry, just for a second, because it's taking way too long to compute. Let's stretch this really badly. Like that. Okay, that's pretty bad. Okay, so you can see that this gets stretched. You can see that this UV square is being stretched to it's a lot larger than this UV square over here. It's stretched twice as big. And when you generate masses on top mask images, when you use these UVs to shade in Painter, it won't look as nice because it's gonna look however the UVs look. So that's where the adaptive density comes in handy. Now remember to start really small. So put like 5 here, otherwise it'll cook forever. I had tried putting 50 and it cooks like 2 hours and it's still cooking. So 5 is good. Start small and keep upping it. What this does, it's distributing the density, how much. Now I'm not sure how it calculates it or anything. It's dividing. It's trying to figure out which parts need more density and which parts have more stretching, which parts have less stretching, and it's trying to figure all that out. And how much effort it's trying to do will depend on the number that you put in here. So let's give this a whirl. Density. Hopefully this won't take too long. So it's cooking on the bottom. Oops. It doesn't seem too much. It's almost maybe. Let's see. Let's go. Okay, it goes again. I hope it doesn't have to do this 4 times. Oh my god, it is doing it 4 times. Okay, but you get the idea. So you put the this is where it can really control the stretching, but it's mostly a trial and error thing. You have number density levels, which will distribute the density, like if for higher areas, like how many levels of density you want. You may want like UVs really dense in certain areas and UV dense in really low areas. So that's 2 groups. That's 2 levels. What if you want another one in the middle? You want, something not so warm, not so hot. So that's the number of levels of densities. And that's where you play around with those 2 numbers to get what you want and avoid the stretching. Because this is cooking really long. I'm not going to demonstrate it live. There's a lot of limitations to the... Any other questions? Okay, let me up this so we have it. Oh, it has to cook again. Okay. Okay, let's see that. Go on. I don't know what else to say. Let's see. UVs be cut into smaller islands? Oh, that's actually a very good question. So would the resulting UVs be cut into smaller islands? It would not. It would actually just be, you know what? I'm just going to stop this and then I can show you if it can stop. Okay. Let's not do... Oh, that's, what was this, 500? Okay, it would not be cut up. So it will always be a perfect square if you use this labs terrain mesh ROP node. If you use this lab node, it will always be a perfect square, because I believe all they're doing is a top-down projection. All they're doing is just an orthographic projection from the top, and they're just getting the UVs like that. So it'll always be a perfect square. But the question that you pointed out is very nice, is that I wanted to point out, is that if you zoom in really, really closely, you'll see that there's a teeny small gap there. Now, this is not really a gap. It's really this, the beauty of using this labs node is that it's actually retopologizing the Heightfield in a way that the topology is sliced right down this line between the colors. So let's go back to the geometry. Here, there's a line. There's actually like you can see the topology lines as a perfect grid. Let's see. See, there's these lines, these dots that go right down this line. So there's a topology line that is separating between the colors, and this is very important. This is very important for Painter, and I'll show you why. Because you're going to end up with an error message if you don't get that perfect slice down there in your UDIMs. So let's do this. Let's not use my HDA. Don't cook. And it crashed. Okay, give me 1 second. Just gonna reload it up. So I just want to show you, you're gonna get an error message into Painter if you don't have that perfect topology. Okay, I'm glad I saved. Just give it a moment. It's because it's running through the erosion. You know what? I'm just going to ignore the erosion just for this particular example, as we don't really need it. So it's going to be something flat right here. And I'm just going to go this. So I'm not going to be using this. I'm actually, why do I keep clicking that? Ignore this. So our UVs look like this. I'm going to make it. You know what? Let me show you the example over here. So this does the conversion. It doesn't have that fanciness that the labs node gives us. So I'm going to take this UV and I'm actually going to stretch it beyond this square just a little bit so that you'll get topology overlapping this UDIM tile grid here. Like right here. So that's not great right there. And let's output this. Oh, actually, let me make a new one. Just call this 2. Save this. Go back to Painter. Let's create a new one. 2. Mesh. Now, this doesn't have UDIM, so I'm not going to do UDIMs. Oh, I should have showed you an example with UDIMs though. Okay, let's see what happens. I don't know if I can get that error message. No, you need UDIMs. Okay, so I'll stretch this one. I'll stretch the one with UDIMs. Sorry. Erase that from your brain. Erase that last 2 minutes from your brain. I'm going to stretch the UDIMs. Now, it doesn't help that the color's gone too. That's just confusing everyone. Okay, there you go. So, I'm taking the UD. This is what it's... Oh, come on. I just stretched it just a little bit so that we no longer have that nice fine. See that green line? It's no longer in the right place. It's actually overlapping in like whatever random place there is. So let me save this. Let's go over here. Let's try that again. I'm trying to get Painter to throw an error. So now we do have UDIMs. It's just not great UDIMs. Hopefully I'll throw that error. There we go. That's the error I'm looking for. See? So it can't load it up. So if I pull up the logs, let me see. Support export log. I'm just gonna stick it in here. Sure, let's stick it here. Notepad. Pull it up. Ooh, 1 second. I'm just gonna look at the last thing that it's trying to tell me. Errors means here spanning here. This is what it's trying to tell you. Errors have been found while splitting meshes per UV tile has a face spanning across multiple tiles. So basically it's trying to tell you this topology is not lined up. It needs to be, then you need to have perfect topology splitting it between these UV tiles. And then you'll get that error message if you don't have that perfect topology. And that's the beauty of this labs node right here. That's why I love this node right here. Other than the fact that it rearranges the UDIM in the wrong order, but that's very simple to fix. Cool. Awesome. I hope that helped you. Anyone else? Any more questions? Cool. If you have any questions, just shoot them up. Otherwise, I'm going to close this stream because this was just an impulsive stream. I didn't really practice much for this stream, so it's a little rough, this stream. Yay, maybe one day. Maybe now you can get into terrain. I might get into Unreal Engine because I don't know if you guys heard, sidefx and Unreal Epic Games have combined part of their companies. So now they're like sort of partnership companies. I feel like there's like a lot to be. That's a lot more is going to come out of this. Probably good to get into UE right now. And then when the next, I'm guessing the next Houdini 19 will come up with awesome update plugins that will tie more into UE. So it's probably nice to get into it now, and then when it all comes out, you can just use it right away. Cool. Yeah, the Houdini engine would be great if it would work flawlessly in UE. I know there's a lot of limitations. Oh, what would you like to see in the HIP file? Here, let me just move this. There's a slight delay in the chat, so I'm always pausing. Oh, the HDA I prepared. Sure. Here, let me edit this. Oh, I ignored it. 1 second. It has to calculate. Let's go back up. Let me come here. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Just gonna cook so I can actually... there we go. Cool. Hope you see that. So the top is just a null and the output. Hope that's clear. So I can release this out. But the problem is this HDA only works with a 2x2. So as you can see, my partition is only reading the two colors, the four colors that gets outputted from the labs node. And this is only 4 wrangles. So it's only assigning the UDIMs for 4 tiles. That's one of the reasons I don't want to release this HDA. It's not fully proceduralizing. Cool. Any more questions? Otherwise, I'm just going to call it a night. Yeah, you'll have to add more attribute wranglers. It's not the most procedural way. Like, I have to clean this up a bit. This is actually the first public live stream I've done. The previous live streams were a little rough, so I wanted to keep it with a lower number of crowds. I kind of still think I'm still rough at this live stream. I'm getting a little better. A lot of people makes me nervous, but I'll try to actually make this a regular thing if this is what everyone likes. I just have to know what time zone everyone's in. So if everyone here can just tell me what time zone you're in, that would really help me a lot. Awesome. I'd be glad to do this on a regular basis. Eastern, Pacific. Cool. I'm on an Eastern time zone too, so that'll make things a little easier. GMT. Wow, Saudi Arabia. Awesome. Greece. Wow, we have people all over the world. So that's one of the benefits of doing it with public live streams, that you get people all over the place. So it's a lot more interesting. Wow, 5 a.m. You stayed up all night to wait for this live stream? Because the Houdini to Substance Painter workflow question was initiated by, can I just call you Jojo? And I was trying to work out a live stream with him this morning, and YouTube was just not cooperating. I mean, it was just the live chat was not working at all, and I tried everything. So I ended up just doing a impulsive live stream tonight to see if anyone would show up. Oh my god, 5 a.m. Oh, thanks. I love explaining things. The problem is that I go on and on and on sometimes. Cool. Thank you everyone for joining tonight, and I'll definitely try to do this as a regular thing, and if everyone likes this, I'll be taking this video and I'll be putting my overlays, the fancy arrows and the highlights and the box highlights in it. So stay tuned for that if you want to do a rewatch. Yeah. And when I do actually release the final version, I'm actually going to delete this version, because then I don't want people to watch the wrong version, but it'll be the same video. Cool. Thank you everyone for joining me tonight, and thank you for all your questions. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you have any more questions, just shoot them in the comments and I'll get to almost everyone. It might not be right away. I usually do respond really quickly though. Let's see. Can you please move the UV layout and the last node? UV layout. These two nodes? Oh, let me put this over here. So you want to remove these two. If you remove these two, it may not work because these two nodes are the ones that actually make it a UDIM. Without these two nodes, it'll just be like this. As you can see, it's all in one UV square. This is what is these two nodes is what makes it a UDIM. I do post some of my work on Instagram, but usually I post it on Twitter because it's just easier on Twitter. The Instagram, you need a third-party software to post videos, which is quite annoying. Twitter is just so much easier. You just drop it in. The only problem is Twitter has that has a different bit rate. It has that encoding, which makes the videos look a lot worse. What is my handle? That is a good point. I don't actually remember. Let's see. There it is. Here, I'll paste it into the comments. The Twitter is here. How do you actually go? Oh, there it goes. Okay, there you go. There you go. All right. Does anyone have any more questions? I'm gonna call it a night. No problem. You're very welcome. All right. I think I'm gonna call this a night. So thank you again for joining me tonight, and maybe I'll put up a poll on the next topic to be discussed on the next live stream.